Today's total body workout will give you a great workout no matter where you are in your fitness journey. But I did dedicate this one to women who are in their 40s and 50s who might be experiencing some of the signs and symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. I'm just going to be emphasizing some of the things that you'll want to be thinking about and the ways that you can embrace strength training in this phase of life. So a little housekeeping before we get started. This workout will use some dumbbells. So I've got a couple of sets of dumbbells in different weights. You might want to go grab those now. We also might be using a sturdy chair or a bench. I'm going to pull my box over for a couple of things. It's an optional piece, but if you have something nearby that you'd be able to potentially rest your hand on, that might be helpful for you as well. Lastly, as we come into this workout, I'm going to ask you to come in with lots of self-compassion and tender loving kindness towards yourself. No matter how you're showing up in this workout today, the most important thing is already done. You're showing up, and that's the key. On any given day, we might come into our workouts feeling a little bit different, depending on our energy level, whether we slept well, whether or not we're experiencing pain in our body, or just dealing with other stressors in our life. So I'm going to be inviting you in just a minute to tune into yourself, to tune into your breath, and just invite you to lean into whatever you need this workout to be for you. Knowing that you can come back to the exact same workout on a different day and it might feel different and you might lean into something else. Some days are for really crushing it and going hard with heavy weights and getting your heart rate up, and other days are just meant for gentle kindness to ourselves. And especially as women, if we are dealing with hormones that fluctuate throughout the month or that are unpredictable, that can really impact how we feel when we're approaching something like a physical challenge or a workout. So with that in mind, the final little bit of housekeeping is that due to licensing issues, I cannot overlay music onto this workout. So I welcome you to throw on your favorite playlist, anything that gets the good vibes going for you, and join me on the floor. Or if you're more comfortable standing, you can actually do this exercise standing, our first little breathing exercise. If this bothers your back to come to the seated position, please feel free to stand or sit on a chair. But let's just come into this position and just kind of allow our focus to go inward. Feel free to let your eye gaze go soft. And if this works for you, to put your hands around your rib cage. I just invite you to join me in some umbrella breathing. It's called umbrella breathing because we're sort of picturing what an umbrella looks like when it expands and opens all the way around 360 degrees. So picture that umbrella expanding, and then as you exhale, compressing. And let's just stay with this for a few breaths while you think about what an absolute miracle it is that you are here breathing, that your heart is beating in your chest, and no matter where you are in your life, I guarantee you your body's got you through some things at this point. You've overcome some things. Your body has shown you some pretty amazing resilience. Try to make that expansion just a little bit bigger as you appreciate everything your body is and has done, and then exhale, blowing all that air out completely, really feeling that compression in your rib cage. And as we take our last one, I just invite you to think about a mantra or some sort of positive affirmation that you can carry with you through this workout. Perhaps it's, I'm exactly where I need to be. Perhaps it's, I am strong. Perhaps it's, I trust my body. Anything that feels affirming to you, and you might just carry that in your mind and remind yourself throughout your workout. So join me now on hands and knees. Let's keep our breathing going. Keep thinking about that big diaphragmatic breathing as we round our back. And then lift our heart and press your tailbone back behind you. It's really important, too, that you know that you're in charge of this workout. So if anything I suggest or demonstrate just doesn't feel right for your body, please know that it's absolutely up to you to take a break, to pause your movement and just wait and skip an exercise. Whatever you need to do is absolutely okay. You can make this your workout. Let's bring one foot forward. I still have my hands kind of lightly touching the floor, if that's accessible for you. And we're making some nice big circles. And this is just loosening up the hip. Take notice of what you might be feeling, if there are any sticky spots and may need a little extra love today. And then let's take our hand that's closest to that forward leg and sweep it up, and then weave our arm underneath our other arm, getting some nice open rotations in our upper body. So I'll be making a lot of suggestions. We'll be going through 3 sets of our strength training today. Let's repeat that on the other side. So as we go through our sets, we're going to start with sort of the foundational movement, and then we'll add some more complexity and some challenge moves as we go through the subsequent second and third rounds. So you're always welcome to take any options or not take any options as we go through those. And I'll be giving a lot of form cues, but again, just trust your body. Listen to its inner wisdom as you move. Weaving that arm under. Super nice. That one always feels so good for me. Okay, and then I'm going to come to a front-facing position for you. I'm coming into kind of the Captain Morgan's pose. So knee is pointed out over the toe towards the corner of the room, and keeping your heel down, we want to just mobilize our ankle. So I'm already pretty warmed up today. Don't worry if your body doesn't make the same shapes as mine. We're all unique, right? And then let's bring that forward leg in line. So now we're on railroad tracks. Squeeze your glute on the back leg. Let's reach the arms up and shift our hips forward. And then lightly rock back. Maybe you can lift that front toe off the ground. Big reach. And shift it back. So let's repeat that on the other side. So coming first to our ankle mobility. So as we are getting into our middle-age life, our body's been through some things by now, right? And we probably have a few aches, pains, sticky spots in our joints, and mobility work just becomes more and more important. You know, when we were younger, we could get away with skipping warm-ups and like never stretching, and we could just wake up the next day and do whatever we wanted. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's, you know, got some wear and tear on my body by now, and waking up feeling a little bit more stiff and sticky is a very real thing. So anyway, mobility work does not have to be a big chore. I would like to treat this as self-love time, and also just when you're feeling those little sticky spots in your body, aches, pains, let that be an invitation to give yourself that self-love. It's an invitation to take care of your body in a different way. So coming down onto our back, we're going to start to activate. We've loosened things up a bit. Now we want to wake up our muscles and sort of get our brain and our muscles connected to each other. So we'll start with some gentle bridging, driving your feet into the ground, bringing your hips in line with your shoulders and your knees, and squeezing the glutes. So I like to do about 8 to 10 of these. Super nice. Just a good way to warm up the muscles. And again, just pay attention. Is your body inviting you to take care of it in any particular way? All right, activating the core. So remember when we did our umbrella breathing and we did that expansion and then really contracting. So I want you to find that contraction again, exhaling hard, maybe lightly pressing your low back into the floor. And then we'll start this gentle marching. So you want to keep your low back slightly connected and your ribs down. And if you can do that easily, then maybe you can start from the top and lower your heels towards the floor. So just watch the rib cage and make sure you're keeping your ribs down nice and tight. Let's go for 3, for 2, for 1, and then give your knees a little hug. Okay. Single leg bridging. So we're going to just warm up one side at a time. Same movement we just did with both feet, but now we're driving through one foot. So work on keeping the hips level. See if you can get your hips as high as you did when you had 2 feet pushing the ground. This is a good time too to check in with our shoulders. Make sure we're not like collecting a bunch of tension here. Just let your jaw relax. Let your shoulders melt into the floor. And also, I appreciate your patience and your grace, since I don't do a great job counting when I'm talking and cueing through these workouts. If it's going to bother you, I'm going to try to do about 8 to 10 of everything, most everything today. Please feel free to count on your own, and if it doesn't match my reps, then you have my apologies. I'm going off of feel and knowing that that's good enough for right now. So single leg bridging in the books. Let's move on. We've got some squats today in our workout. So making your way up to your feet, we want to practice our squats. I always recommend whatever you're planning to do in your strength training, practice with body weight. So you kind of get a sense of how your body's doing with the movement. Do you have the mobility available to do the movement well? So we want to practice our squats. Make sure your hips are moving back and that your knees aren't shooting way out in front. We don't want to lead with our knees. So we want to lead with our hips. And then it's actually okay for your knees to go over your toes as long as your weight is pushing back behind you. All right, moving into some reverse lunges. One leg at a time. I'm going to keep the load primarily on that front leg. So as you lunge back, you're pushing down through the front leg. Keeping your shoulders nice and tall and lifted. For 3, for 2, for 1. Okay, I'm coming to the back of my space. I'm doing 3 more squats, and then I'm going to find the floor with my hands, walking out to a plank. You're welcome to get to a plank any way that you feel comfortable, but that hand walk out is kind of fun. And we're tapping our shoulders. Let's do 6 taps and then 6 leg lifts. And then walk your feet up to your hands. Turn and face the other direction. Same thing. 4 squats. My heart rate's coming up. That's good. That's the point. Hopefully you're with me. Walking out. Tap. Tap. So I'm getting a little bouncy because I'm kind of having fun and I'm looking at the camera. But I want you to think about squeezing your glutes a little bit and working on keeping your hips level as you move your limbs in your plank. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Walk your feet on up. All right, drop those shoulders down and back. Let's get into just a little bit more heart rate work. Getting us into this little sprinter position and then jogging high knees. We'll sprint on this end, other leg hopefully. And then jogging high knees and sprinting it out a little bit. And high knees. Last set here. And high knees in place. Okay, let's grab a quick sip of water. I hope you feel warmed up. We're going to get into our strength training now. So just take a moment to pause. Put your hand on your heart. My heart is beating faster than it was earlier. So celebrate that little shift that you created. I hope you're feeling a little bit more energized now that we've loosened up, we've gotten moving. So you can see how just in a short amount of time, you've already created this shift and gotten a result from the time you're spending moving your body. So I like to pause and just acknowledge that. Our first exercise is a squat. We already talked about practicing our squats. Now we're going to add some load to the squat. So this is how we build lean muscle. I encourage you to pick up the heaviest weights that you feel comfortable doing. However, if you're brand new to strength training and you haven't been practicing squats a lot lately, you're welcome to do this with body weight alone. So I'm just going to start with my weights here at my side and imagine I've got a chair behind me, sitting back, imagining I'm about to tap the surface of that chair. Again, I'm going to do about 8 to 10 reps. Working on a nice, even, controlled tempo. Apologies for the noise interference from my little training buddy. It's also totally cool to hold your weights up here at your shoulders. Okay? So as you're finishing those up, just know with squats, I get some questions sometimes about position of your feet. It's okay to have your toes turned out a little bit if that's more comfortable for your hips, or have your toes straight ahead. You can be narrow, you can be a little bit wider, but somewhere a little bit wider than hip width, okay, is usually where you want to be. So hopefully you felt great with those. Next exercise, we're doing a bent over row. So I'm going to stay with my heavier weights because I know this exercise, I know it can support my spine with my core. So we want to be in this position. Remember your umbrella breathing. Keep your rib cage nice and tight. Keep your weight in your heels. If this is putting strain on your low back, I'd like you to drop a weight. Grab that sturdy chair that we talked about. Rest one hand on it and create a tabletop here with a little bit of support so that you're not putting all that load in your low back. Okay? So start where you are. Let's do about 8 to 10 rows for each arms. If you're doing both together, you can do those all at once and take a break. I'm going to even myself out. Notice here I'm light on this hand. I'm not slouching my shoulder way up to my ear. Staying nice and light, keeping my shoulder down and back and relaxed, okay? So that's a couple ways you can practice your rowing. So we'll come back to that and practice in round 2. Coming back to the floor, we're going to go into our glute bridge again and add a chest press to it. So I welcome you to practice your chest press all on its own. We haven't practiced this movement yet. It's a lot like a push-up. If your weights that you have at home are fairly light and you're not getting a whole lot out of this, please flip over and do a push-up. Or you can stay with this and add a bridge in between reps. So this is just a way to get a little 2 for 1. We're getting our chest press and we're getting a little bit of hamstring and glute work. And we're having to do this little isometric hold at the top, balancing these weights. So lots happening. Again, if you're sort of new to strength training and this feels a little bit awkward to do a combination, absolutely just do one part of the movement and then the other as 2 separate exercises and get really comfortable with it before you combine them together. Okay, I'm going to switch down to my lighter weights. We're going to go with the slightly smaller muscle group for the upper body. So it's another 2-parter. I'm doing lots of combos today just to maximize our time. But we'll start with our lunge. This is called a drop lunge. It's sort of like a curtsy. So you might have heard this being called a curtsy lunge. And when you're ready, let's add a bicep curl. And you can add that bicep curl at the bottom like I just showed or at the top. So I think I actually meant to show it up here, but both ways are good. So with that bicep curl, I'm going to move to my other leg now and show you my side view. You want to make sure that your upper arm is staying nice and steady next to your torso. You want to avoid swinging your arm a lot like that, okay? So we want to really make the bicep work to control the weight and not rely on momentum and swinging, right? So that's a combo. Again, you can kind of lean in to different aspects of that exercise. If we were together in person, I'd be asking you right now, what do you want more? Do you want to really challenge your legs? Let's grab the heavy weights and we'll do the bicep curls later, and let's just focus on the lunge. And then you can do bicep curls later with a slightly lighter weight. So either way is good. All right, back to the floor. We're kind of up and down today. This one is for our upper back and our lats. I'm making a little cradle for my weight with my hands. Ribs down, slightly tucking my tailbone up. I'm going to keep the arms long and reach that weight overhead and then pull back over my chest. So inhaling on the way down, exhaling as you come up. You want to make your arms like long levers that connect to your back muscles. So you'll definitely feel this in your triceps, but you want to also feel it in your back. Make sure that you're keeping your wrists nice and strong and neutral. I'm going to do one more. Breathing in, whew, and then exhaling, letting it out. Perfect. Okay, core work time. We're going to come into a plank position. So I'm going to give you an option. If if you're not ready for a plank for a long period of time and you just are getting into this, a great option is to come into this tabletop position and do this leg crossover. You can even do a little crossover bird dog. Okay, so some version of that. If you're ready for more, let's come into a full plank. We're gonna lift a leg, squeeze your glute on the lifted leg and tap across. Lift and tap. Lift and tap. So I love this because you get a nice stretch as you cross your body. That outside of that line of your body is getting a really nice stretch. You also get a little bit of work in the glute as you lift your leg. And then of course, planks. It's a good classic exercise. Nothing wrong with a plank. You can also do this one on your elbows. So that works really well too. So finish up your planks. Let's grab some water. And this is your chance to again check in with yourself and be like, okay, this is even a moment to think about, what do I want to lean into? We've got 2 more rounds. So I'll be giving you a couple of challenge options as we go, and you're welcome to take or leave any of it. But this is a good chance to just notice, okay, wow, yep, I'm still here, still doing this. How do I feel? Have I felt like this was like really hard? I want to keep it right here. Or am I like ready for more? I want to go for that next level. So all up to you. You get to decide. Let's go back to our squat though. So I'm challenging myself with my heavier weights. I'm going to go with the chair option. So think of this chair, bench, something solid. And I'm going to line myself up in front of the chair. And this time I'm starting from the racked position. So it's called racked position. We're going to do a squat. Squeeze our glutes, hold like a plank position in a standing up position, and then press overhead. What I like about the chair is that we can reach for it like a target. So it really helps you get maybe a little bit lower. If you feel like you can go lower than your chair, then by all means, get that thing out of the way and see what you can do. Keep those hips back, push into the floor, squeeze your glutes. If you're pressing overhead, watch out for any leaning back. We want to avoid like pressing our belly forward and leaning back, okay? So squeeze your glutes, squeeze your ribs, press those weights straight up to the sky. Woo! Okay, that's about my limit on those for today. So I'm feeling it already. So shake out those shoulders, shake out your arms, and let's get ready for our bent over rows. So I showed you a couple options last time, either with one hand supported, doing one arm at a time, or in a hinged position. You want to knit those ribs together, push your hips back, and pull straight up to your rib cage. So I'm just going to demonstrate a few like this. Choose your challenge. This is all up to you. But pulling is one of our primary movement patterns. If you want to make this harder for yourself, you can add a little pause on the way down. Sorry, that was our challenge option, and I forgot to bring it up at the beginning, but that's okay. You can take a few challenge options here if that's something you want to do. Woo, and then standing up nice and tall. Beautiful. Okay. Part of this workout is getting up and down from the floor. I don't know if you noticed that, but I definitely have us getting up and down a lot. All right, back to chest presses. So give yourself a moment to catch your breath and recover, and then we're going to get back to this. So your options are chest press only, chest press with a bridge, or your challenge option would be to hold a bridge for all the reps and just keep that static isometric hold on your glute bridge. Work on nice, controlled, smooth reps. So notice if there's areas where you're kind of rushing things, and maybe test yourself and see, can I do a really slow, controlled rep? And just see. All right, I'm going to do one more like that. Good. Okay. Back to our drop lunges. Whew, shaking it out. So again, remember, we can lean into strength and grab heavy weights and focus just on the legs. Or we can lean into the combination and just do the biceps. Or if you're like, my legs are so tired, I'm sore, I would rather just do arms, you can just do the bicep curl by itself. So I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can do this. So I'm going to start on this side. So bicep curl at the top. It doesn't matter what side you start on. Or bicep curl at the bottom. I kind of gave that one away on the first round. I started down here. And that's okay. Good. I'm going to do a couple more. So again, depending on what weight you're using, does it feel really, really hard and really heavy, or does it feel a little bit easy? I could probably go a little heavier on these if I'm being honest. So I'm going to slow my downward portion of the rep down and make that a little bit more challenging. And that's just a way that you could do that. There's definitely a difference between pushing myself to my max weights and then using weights and still being able to talk through it with you guys. I think I did a couple extra on the other side. Well, let's do one more. All right. I told you I'm not going to count at all, so I just can't seem to figure that out and talk at the same time. So hopefully you had fun with those ones. And now let's come back to the floor for our pullover. So that little cradle looks like this to hold your weight. So remember when we warmed up and we did the marching and we tried this in the warm-up? So I'm going to invite you to start here with your pullover. Make sure your ribs feel nice and connected. And if that feels really good, you can bring your legs up, either long legs like this and lower one at a time, or you can do bent knee one at a time. I like straight on this one. I just kind of feel like the long levers on my legs and arms feel good. They match. But whatever feels right for you, go for it. And I'm just going to do a couple more. And that will do. Beautiful. Okay. So good. Okay. On that plank, I gave you an option to either be on a tabletop and do the crossover. You can lift the opposite arm, or you can do the plank on your hands or elbows. Cross it over. Cross it over. If you're looking for something in between those two, the first one's too easy, the second one's too hard, come up to your elevated surface, lift your leg and tap. So choose your challenge now. Let's do 8 for each side. Lift your leg, squeeze your glute, keep your shoulders right over your wrists, or if you're on your elbows, keep your shoulders right over your elbows. You got this. A little lift, get that stretch, and get that strength. Oh boy, I'm feeling it. Oh yeah. Okay. If you're with me, feel free to take a little stretch there. We will do some stretching at the end, but that's the end of round 2. So give yourself a little break, a little appreciation, and know that we are more than halfway through this workout. So you're doing awesome. I hope you are feeling more shifts, maybe a little sweat, maybe a little glisten, heart's beating, lungs are pumping, lots of good things are happening. So final round, we've got our squats again. So options. Always choose what's right for you. Body weight squat is great. You can do a squat with the weights low. You can do a squat, stand tall to press. If that felt easy and you were very confident doing it, join me in a squat thrust. The difference here is that you're using your momentum from pushing the floor to get those weights up overhead. So as you push up here, the weights do kind of float. Good. This one takes a lot of core stability. So if you feel anything that's not good in your back or your shoulders, just take it down. You can always come back to this exercise. I'm gonna do one more, because those are actually pretty fun. Oh, I almost set these down. It's time for bent over rows. Okay, so bent over row, lots of options. We've talked about resting your hand on your chair. We've talked about a 3-point pause. And then another option is to pull and hold, and then just move one arm at a time. So the non-moving arm is an isometric hold as the other one moves. Keep pulling your ribs up tight. Keep using your breath to just engage your core. Weight in your heels if you're with me. We're gonna be here for a couple more. Oh yeah, last one on each arm. I think I'm gonna feel this tomorrow. I think I'll be sore. And by the way, on the topic of soreness, that is not the only indicator of a good workout. So in case you wake up tomorrow and you're not sore, that does not mean that this workout didn't work or that it wasn't good enough or you didn't show up well enough. It's all good. Sometimes we'll feel that soreness and sometimes we won't. And there's a lot of reasons behind that we're not going to talk about right now. But just know, however you're showing up for this workout, it's already enough because you showed up, right? So I just have a feeling I'm going to be sore. All right, here we go. We're going back to our glute bridge. You know the options by now. Our glute bridge chest press, I should say. Chest press with the bridge. We've got our chest press with our bridge hold. If you want even more than this, try that little pause. 3 points. And you can add this to any of the variations we've practiced. So it's just like putting on the brakes, putting on the brakes, putting on the brakes. Press. And press. And press. I'm going to do a couple more. You got this. Whatever you have left. I know we're getting in towards that home stretch. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh. I don't know what I have left in me. But I know you can do it. I know you've got it in you. Okay. Options for this final set of our curtsy squat. You know all the ones we've done before. Now we can lean into some balance. So let's curtsy back, come to the single leg balance, and try our bicep curl up here at the top. Super tricky. So lunge. Woo. Moving our weights through space, kind of away from our center of gravity, definitely makes balance more challenging. But it's just fun. It's just for fun. We're just playing around. Okay, let's do our other side. So coming to that balance, and if you need a little balance check, like you get here and you have to tap down for balance, that's cool. No worries. No one's judging. It is all good. And remember, I had time to prepare for this, but you're just figuring it out on the fly as I throw things at you. So you're doing great. Yeah. And I am winded. So if you are too, then let's celebrate that. We're working hard. Drop, press, and woo! Losing my balance, curling. Okay. One more set with that pullover. So I want to give you a different option this time. You can always stay with the basic pull. Get this out of the way. We work the biceps a lot, so I want to give you an option of bringing that weight down and doing a little tricep press up. So we're bending the elbows as if we're reaching our elbows towards the mat, and then we're reaching the weight up overhead. Yes. So this does feel good to do after all those bicep curls. This is by no means a fully comprehensive workout as far as hitting everything that you'd ever want to hit. Of course, there's lots of other exercises we could do, but this is a good variety. For a total body workout, we're able to get quite a bit done in here. Getting single leg work done, hamstrings, quads, shoulders, chest, back, and a little bicep and tricep. Never hurt anybody. So, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I usually prioritize the bigger muscle groups if I have to choose. So if I have limited time and I want to get the most impact for my time, and just letting you know, like I would definitely prioritize legs, back, chest, like those things. And then biceps and triceps are kind of like the icing on the cake when you've got a little time left. Okay, final set of our plank crossover. I'm going to show the elbow plank this time. Up on my toes, tapping across, keeping my shoulders right over my elbows. I'm pushing my elbows down into the ground to stay super strong through my upper back. So I'm lifting up and crossing. Oh yeah. You got this. This is it. Final few minutes of our workout here. You got this. Oh yeah. 4. Let's go for 3. Let's go for 2 and final crossover. Plant your knees. Shift your hips back. Take a child's pose. Take a nice big breath. Exhale and let it go. Okay. Grab some water and then I have a little surprise. We're going to do a quick finisher. It's going to be very short and sweet. It's sort of flirting with high intensity interval training type movement, and it's just designed to sort of push us into that fat burning zone, get our heart rate up to the point that we're really depleting the oxygen in our system so that we have to work really hard to replenish that afterwards. So it's not like a full hit session, but we're going to be using some of the movement patterns we just practiced with our weights. We're not using weights anymore, so why don't you clear your space, make sure you've got some room to move around, and then just trust me, it's going to be really short. We have 2 exercises. We're going to do each one for 20 seconds 2 times. So 1 minute and 20 seconds total of work. We'll have to take a quick break in between each one, and then we will stretch, and you're going to have a huge win for the day. So exercise 1 is going to be a skater, going side to side. You can make it big, you can reach for the floor, or you can keep it pretty high up, okay? So you get to choose your challenge on that. Second exercise, I'm going to show from the side, a squat, either low to high, really loaded squat, or full jump. Really use your arms, be kind to your knees by landing nice and soft. Again, low impact looks like this, just rise up to your toes and then sink back down in this nice big movement. And if plyometric stuff is just not for you today, it does not feel kind for your body, please skip this, start stretching, and we'll catch up with you in about 1.5 minutes. So, are you ready? We're gonna start with those skaters. 20 seconds on the clock. Starts in 3, 2, and go. Side to side. And you're gonna have to just trust me because I'm watching the clock. So the longer you reach your arms, the more of a twist you get in your core. It really engages your core muscles. We've got about 7 seconds left. Stay with it, you got this. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're gonna take about a 10-second pause. Let your heart rate come down a little bit, but we're gonna feel a little under-recovered. That's okay, you can do this. Ready? Here we go, 20 seconds on the clock. Either jumping or doing that loaded squat. Reaching for the sky. This might be a good time to come back to that mantra, that affirmation. You've got it there. I'm powerful. And woo, look at that time. All right, 10 more seconds of recovery. It's gonna feel too short. We're already going. Ready, set, and go. Skate. Final 2 rounds of 20 seconds. You can absolutely do this. Bring that mantra to your mind. Believe in yourself now. This is it. We've got 5 more seconds here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew, okay. Final 20-second effort. Don't quit on me now. Don't quit on yourself now. Here we go. Load, explode. This is it. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. You got this. Oh yeah, 10 more seconds. Nice soft landings. You can do anything for 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh my gosh. Okay. You have to celebrate whatever just happened in the last 40 minutes or so. Oh my gosh, celebrate that. Lock it in. You did that. So I'm gonna let my heart rate come down. My apologies for breathing into the mic. Grabbing water. And then let's do some stretching together. So let's just bring one arm across our body, hug it in. Maybe you can experiment with rolling your chin around a little bit, lengthening out the side of your neck. Stretching is definitely a time to tune in. I find the more I stretch, the more my body really guides me into what I need most. Let's bring our hands over to our hip, drop our ear here. I'm not going to take us to the floor just yet, since our heart rate's already really elevated. And then we'll go this side. Just roll your chin around. Okay. So good. Okay, if you have a chair or anywhere that you can have a seat now. Let's cross one ankle. Drop your shoulders down and back. You can do this on your back too. I'm just sort of waiting to calm down a little bit more before I lay down. So inhale nice and tall through the crown of your head, and then exhale. Just let your chest reach down until you feel that stretch. So I hope that this workout gave you a little bit of inspiration to what a strength training session can feel like. Trying some different variations of old familiar exercises probably. All right, I switched sides. Yeah. And just remember, whatever you're feeling in your body as you come into your workout from day to day is all good. Definitely, I think we put a lot of expectations on ourselves about how we think we're supposed to feel and supposed to show up and doing all the things all the time. And I think it's really important, especially as we're going into this beautiful middle-aged time, to just, this is a time to give ourselves a break. We want to feel really good, but we don't want to put these expectations of perfection on ourselves. So you want to feel that energy that comes from moving your body and that flow that comes from just connecting with yourself, but knowing that that doesn't have to look any specific way. It's going to look different on different days. So, okay, I'm just kind of leaning forward in this nice butterfly stretch. Let's extend one leg long. Take a little side body flow. And plant your hand behind you. Flow the other way. There's so many stretches we could do, and I think I need to put out more stretching videos that are just stretching. So definitely check back with me for that. But I invite you, even after this concludes, if there are other stretches that your body's craving, or if you've got a foam roller handy, get that out. Definitely take time. Take that invitation from your body to take care of it and stretch out whatever you need. But I'm just going to leave you with this. I hope this workout left you feeling elevated, empowered, and energized for the rest of your day.